Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be going over the Battle Hardened Cincinnati that happened this past weekend. Days are running together for me. And kind of just talk about the meta breakdown, the top 8, how Dusk Till Dawn's release kind of affected this a little bit, because it did have some influence for sure. And then kind of talk about how the future events are going to go. Not necessarily predictions, but really just kind of talk about how Dusk Till Dawn's going to greater influence it as time goes on. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoy your stay. Let me know what you think of the content. If you're a long-stay member, thank you all so much. Feel free to check out the Patreon and the Discord down below. For Patreon members, I normally, for anyone who's not aware, do my Patreon videos a day early. So as you see this video coming out today, my Patreon members got it yesterday evening, in the late evening. I usually put out like 12 to 24 hours before. I couldn't do that while I was in Europe because I was traveling, and I did a lot of videos ahead of time, but that's going to come right back, so definitely be on the lookout for that. So the Battle Hardened Cincinnati took place. 100 players battled for a PTI Gold Foil $2,000 prize pool. And before we get into the event at all, I just want to do a shout out here. So man sent Ethan, y'all know him, Levia Connoisseur, Levia Connoisseur, Levia Extraordinaire. Started a production company with some others called Savage Feats. And they're just doing flesh and blood content at events, flesh and blood production at events. And this team is actually did an amazing job. Like, this isn't just like blind gas. I come from an esports and gaming background. I've been to 10 plus events on scales of thousands of people. I've seen good production. I'm telling you right now, the resources that they have versus like what they're doing quality wise is just unbelievable. I mean, the production went off without a hitch. It was really, really good. Sam, Brody, Ethan, all of them are just gems. Brody Spurlock, as it's any surprise, he kills everything he does. Did a really good job. First time really officially being a caster on camera. And they just did amazing. So please go follow Savage Feats. Go follow Ethan and his team. They did a fantastic job. But yeah, the Battle Hardened Cincinnati kicked off. This was the first major event without Oldheim, which was a big deal. A lot of people were expecting going into the event, I think, that Dromai would be a big player, Lexi would be a big player, but then it was kind of, in my opinion, kind of up in the air after that. It could be a little bit, some people were saying who's going to be the next control deck. Is it going to be Uziri, Bravo? Is it going to be something crazy like a freaking Axe's Dory, whatever it may be, or Axe Dory in this case? And it was kind of an unknown after those two decks. So as we could see the meta breakdown here, Lexi being the top representation, no surprise there. I think everybody expected that. I expected that. Personally, I thought Dromai would be second. I thought Dromai would be hovering around, whatever that number is, like 12, 13. But Dromai ended up being the fourth most represented deck. Still almost 10% of the meta, but not quite. The real surprise was these two, especially Viserai. Viserai was 14 out of 100, 14% of the meta represented, and almost doubled Briar's representation, which I think was really surprising because a lot of people generally think Briar is the better Runeblade. So to see Viserai have that many, Battle Hardens can be a little bit more localized than like Callings and stuff like that. So maybe a lot of people in that area just play Vis. It might be a really popular deck. I know certain areas have certain like hero popularities. That's a possibility. I think Bravo being where he is probably a lot of the ex-Oldheim players just wanting to play Guardian or wanting to play that style. So they went to Bravo. So you could see that pop up. So it's not like it's an insane left field surprise, but it is a little bit surprising. I think Viserai is the biggest surprise out of this whole meta breakdown. Briar being 8 and Briar, Katsu, and Uziri, kind of no surprise there. I expected Katsu and Uziri to kind of be up here, like third, fourth, fifth, but nothing too crazy. And then you see a little bit of Dusk Till Dawn influence. I don't think anyone would have expected Bolton and Levia to make up almost 10% of the meta combined in a Battle Hardened, or Levia, sorry, I need to do it right, Levia. But I think this is where you saw the Dusk Till Dawn influence, because Dusk Till Dawn came out basically same weekend for the most part as the set. So it was a little bit hard for people probably to get their hands on the cards. I mean, you saw like Sam Dando using Warmonger's Diplomacy. You saw the Icelander using it as well, and Ray. You saw Pat using some new cards with Levia, things of that nature, but not insane. I guess the other surprise for me, I know she lost Bullseye Bracers, but Azalea only being 2 out of 100 is very surprising to me. I know the Jeremiah matchup is even more abysmal now without Bullseye Bracers. It's pretty much like you're pretty much screwed. But I'm surprised like 5 or 6 people didn't just say I'm going to take Azalea and try to avoid the Jeremiah matchup, like just dodge it, because she's really good in the Lexi, really good into the aggro decks. Even plays pretty decently well in Uziri and Bravo. Like, has a pretty good matchup spread as long as you can dodge Dromai. So, I was surprised with that one. And then Icelander, which we'll get to in a second, only 2 of them, but Icelander got pretty far in this event, obviously. And you even saw 1 Prism. So, definitely really cool to see a little bit of Dust Till Dawn influence there. As far as the top 8, we had 7 different heroes represented in the top 8. You had Nathan on Lexi. We had 2 Briars in Holden and Yanji. Mara, obviously, with Jeremiah. Mara always doing well, as she always does with Jeremiah. Pat being the only Leviah to squeak through. Sam, Drip Drop Dando on Uziri. Ray on Icelander. And then Ben on Bravo. So 7 different heroes made it in. Yanji Lee was kind of cool to see make top 8 and then eventually make top 4, because Yanji had on a piece of content saying that he thought, I believe it was on Mansand's, I'm pretty sure it was on Mansand's stream, that he thought Briar was the best deck in the format, and a lot of people were like, not like arguing, but just disagreeing with him on that. So to see him get top 4, he kind of like proved his point on at least it being a top contender in the format. Lexi getting to at least the top 4, top 2 is no surprise. I think there's always gonna be a Lexi in top 8 as long as they draw decently well. Mara always has good conversion. Say what you want about Jeremiah's conversion, but Mara's conversion is always good. And then Ray being the surprise. There was only 2 Icelander in the whole entire meta, and Ray was the one to make it all the way to the final, and it eventually beat out the Lexi in a fantastic match to win the $500, the PTI, and the gold foil. So super cool event to watch. I don't think Dust Till Dawn had as an impactful eye on it as much as it could. I think the Battle Hardened Chicago and the Calling Birmingham upcoming these upcoming next 2 weeks are going to be like really where you see like Dust Till Dawn influence. But overall, congrats to Ray on winning it out. And then we had the PTI event, which was Draft. Yeah, which is Monarch Draft, and you see here the infamous picture. Really funny picture with Matt DeMarco. And Ashley ended up taking that, I believe, on Prism. And then just a really cool event overall to see. And it's kind of the first event, right, that you're gonna get some Dust Till Dawn influence. I think going into Battle Hardened Chicago and into Holland Birmingham, I definitely think you'll see more Leviah. I think you'll see a couple more Boltons. I think the biggest movers that if you're just gonna like do a direct comparison from Cincinnati to the next 2 events, I think you'll see less Dromai. I truly do think you'll like, as far as like where they rank, see less Dromai. I don't think you'll see as much Bravo either. I could be wrong on that one. I think you'll see a little bit more Briar. Like, it's just like minor shifts. The biggest one is Icelander. I think if you're going into one of those 2 events, you need to have a plan for Icelander. I think some people are going to pivot to her a little bit or pivot to Wizard in general. And you're definitely going to have a game plan into that, honestly. But it's going to be really fun to see. It's a super wide open meta, I think. I think this top 8 is really indicative to what the meta is going to be. 7 different heroes represented. I think you could see 5 or 6 represented heroes in Chicago, as well as the Calling and Birmingham. So let me know what your thoughts are. I'd really interested to see what the community's thoughts are on this. Dust Till Dawn's interesting. I don't know how much influence it's going to have. I really don't. My original thought was that it's not going to have any more influence, and that Oldheim leaving the format's really what's going to have influence, because I'm still waiting for someone to crack the code on Prism. I hope they do. I hope it's like an Icelander thing where someone just finds, like a Michael Hamilton just finds the list that works. But right now, Prism seems kind of weak. Vincent seems just okay, like the most solid B tier deck you could ever imagine. Leviah has some legs, but also has to be really careful, I think, because I think of Leviah's initial builds are just going to be value damage, but I think some people are just going to be like, I'm just going to try Fatiguer. And if you're, as Leviah, you're not ready for that recursion game plan, you could just lose and get fatigued. Because a lot of people are going into consuming off of 13 life, and then you just deck out after that. So you're kind of on like a 2 or 3 turn clock once you go into consuming most of the time. And so that's really interesting. And then Bolton, I hope someone proves me wrong on Bolton. Bolton's definitely better, but I don't think Bolton's good enough to be in the top of the meta at all. I think it's similar to like Vincent. Bolton went from like a bad deck to like a really solid tier 2 deck, in my opinion. But who? Someone might prove me wrong. But yeah, super excited to see these next 2 events. We're going to be doing some prediction videos this week on those 2 events. We're going to predict our top 8, really just kind of give it just for fun, and then see what y'all's thoughts are. But yeah, if you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.